Hello, everyone.
Woo!
Welcome to our 108 tourney odds special. I apologize for us running late. I assure you, I was somewhere else doing something very important. We've got with us today our guy Sammy P, Sammy Paniotovich. Great to see you, man. He's the betting analyst at Nesson, Fox Sports, and he's the host of Chicken Dinner, one of the best podcasts out there, especially if you love gambling. What a fantastic podcast in that case. Just a quick note: none of these odds today are bettable anywhere. But feel free to go to PointsBet and ask them to put it on the board. They won't,
Yes.
but we would appreciate you doing it.
It's worth a try, absolutely.
And as always, this is presented by Wings and Rings and Goose Island, the sponsors of the 108 tournament. Happy to have them along with us. I won't be doing any ad reads from a submarine today, but I promise I will play that later on the internet for you if you need it. Sammy, how you doing today, buddy?
Let's not lie to the people, okay? We were late because I was late because I couldn't find this bottle of whiskey. Like, it was, of all places, it was tucked in neatly right next to me in bed. So I couldn't, I was looking in the liquor cabinet. I looked in the freezer. I couldn't find it, but I'm ready to go. And let's make some madness. Huh? I would like to know, like, if you're in the trading room with PointsBet and you're like scrolling through the make a bet options, and somebody says they want to bet a nickel on beef loaf in the 108 tourney, like, what would they even do?
I mean, I feel like they'd take the bet. I feel like they would take that bet. I think when you see beef loaf's odds, though, you might not take the bet. I think once we get to that,
I should be an even longer shot than I am, is what you're saying, Treasy?
yeah.
You don't love it?
I mean, you're out in the first round, so but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But Sammy, are you just drinking that straight? What are you doing? You got
I got a little mimosa action, so I'm doing that.
Oh, that's nice.
And I think I set the number on Tullamore shots for this, 20 minutes?
Yeah, about 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes.
I'll go 2.5 gulps over under.
I'm going over.
I'm going over. Yeah.
Mainly because I'm going to go over on the 20 minutes, too.
I don't have any pickle juice, though. That's the problem.
Oh, man. It's all on Beef Loaf's table.
I was going to say, it's still on my poker table. What a great night that was.
Beef, what are you drinking, man?
You know what? So I decided, because I know my man Sammy is not a beer drinker, and the event is, the 108 tourney sponsored by Goose Island. Goose gave us a bunch of these where they make their own canned cocktails. And so what I'm drinking today is the Blueberry Smash. And the Blueberry Smash is
Blackberry Smash.
Oh, sorry, Blackberry Smash. Yeah, I got my berries mixed up. Yeah, Blackberry Smash. And the idea is you pour it over ice in a rocks glass. I don't have a rocks glass, but I do have this glass right here. This thing is delicious and refreshing, and they don't overdo it with the sweetness, which I really appreciate. You're going to make a cocktail, you want a little un poquito sweetness, but not too much. So very tasty. Blackberry Smash, I definitely recommend it. Goose is doing a handful of these, and I'll start trotting these out during some of our shows.
Yeah, we got to get Sammy some of these. I think he'd really, really enjoy them. I'm going. So I decided, hey, I'm only going to have like 1 to 2 beers during this. So why not get the 9.9% Imperial IPA, the tropical beer hug? There's a lot of alcohol in this. I can already tell, and you're going to tell in the next 10, 15 minutes when I can't speak. So let's get on to the odds. I'm very excited for this. Let's start in the Here's the Thing region this is a tough region when you're talking about the top couple people.
Yep.
There's one at the end that I feel like, Sam, you're not high on Region Rat here. I couldn't even keep all the zeros on the screen.
I think did I leave a zero off? I think I did. I think
They just ran off the screen. That's how many there were.
It doesn't look like it's enough zeros at the end, but that's not why we're here. This is a really top-heavy region, and I think, your dark horse in this region, and I don't remember what seed you had Wally Money at. I think he was like an 8 seed, but
he's an 8.
He's got the luster. He also calls himself daddy in person. So that could win over some people and lose it with other, I don't think the women are going to like all that, but he's got stature. And I feel like putting him on the 4 line, even though he's an 8 seed, makes a lot of sense. Because if I was a bookmaker, I wouldn't want to give Wally money at 25-1 because I'd write that down. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like 750 is a good spot, but this is lining up for a really good 1-2 matchup with Shy Sox fan Mike, Alley White Sox, plus a quarter, plus 145. That's the likely final in this matchup, and then you build it from there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I actually, even though we got Alley White Sox seeded 1 and Shy Sox fan Mike seeded 2, I mean, Shy Sox fan Mike is the strongest number 2 seed by a mile. So it's whatever region he was going to be in. It was going to be basically a coin flip between him and then whoever that number 1 seed is. And so that's kind of roughly where you have it if you're isolating everyone else off the board. Jimmy Vanicki coming in strong there with the plus 500. I agree with you. I think like Jimmy's little quad there, he should sneak out of that easily. And it depends on public sentiment. If he meets up with Shy Sox fan Mike, kind of where that swings. I mean, I don't have a lot of arguments with this group. I mean, Alley White Sox is such a queen. I would be surprised if she doesn't get out of this region. But if someone can knock her off, that Shy Sox fan Mike's man.
I mean, I feel like Vanicki at plus 500 is something I would bet on. I don't think it's like incorrectly. I don't think it's wrong at plus 500 because it is a long shot for him to beat both Alley and Shy Sox fan Mike, but his video game is strong, and sometimes it comes down to that. I mean, like Summer of George is obviously the strongest on the video game, and so like I want to see what Jimmy brings this year, how much Malort he's willing to imbibe this year.
And if he gets hot, like let's think of it, let's use a basketball terminology. If he gets hot and starts racking up wins in this bracket, he could easily beat Mike in what would be the regional final or the regional semifinal in this bracket. That would be a really good matchup because Shy Sox fan Mike is a very good White Sox follow and he knows a lot of his shit. But I don't think he's going to step outside of his comfort zone where Vanicki might just put a straw in a bottle of Malort and take it down. So always have to weigh the wild cards, and he's the definition of a wild card.
He's got shock factor. There's no doubt about it. Treasy, what do you think about some long shots? One long shot that you think's got a chance to make some noise in this group.
So I think, and I don't know if he'll be able to hit the right buttons, but at plus 10,000, Ben Chi-Town Kid, he gets good traction on a lot of his tweets because he's definitely into a lot, and I see it a lot because I'm into kind of the same stuff. He's definitely like a comic book superhero type dude, and he's also a music dude. So he shows up in my feed a lot, and he gets a lot of traction. So if there's going to be a guy that's going to come out of nowhere and knock something out, if he just starts doing guitar solos for every round, he might get through, right? He might start getting through. So I'd like to see him bounce through a couple rounds and be that long shot.
Yeah, I kind of like What's Up Lizard, who was going against Ben Chi-Town Kid. Those are two. I agree with you. There's two tweeters that have the volatility of they might do something really cool and it'll shoot them up around. Like Sam was mentioning, when you get that hot team, we see that in the tournament all the time, and especially in our tournament, where a couple rounds and you're like, I was not expecting that seed to go that far, and that's where you can hedge out of these positions if you were actually betting.
Yeah, I like both of those. And one of them is going to get out of the first round.
Yeah,
all right, let's
guaranteed look smart.
Let's check the next region, which is that Classic View region, and plus 100 on Janice. I mean, I think we were talking during the tourney reveal, she's definitely a top choice to win it all. So I like the plus 100 there. I'd probably bet it. Sam, give us the breakdown of kind of this group.
Yeah, so last year, we talked about Summer of George being the next in line for the throne, and he ends up winning the tournament last year. Janice is the hottest stock, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of work in there. She's building up her audience, but also remember, she's a part of CHGO, that new site that just launched, and that thing is picking up traction every single day. That's Kevin Kadick, my buddy. He's been doing a lot of the staffing there and a lot of the content creation. So I feel like the audience is there for her. And I expect her to take a leap this year. Look, if I was booking bets on this region, like there's no way I would make Janice 2-1, 3-1, 4-1 because I'd probably give it away. I think she wins this region. I think we have Ken WO fatigue. You know, I love Ken, but for as many people that love Ken, there are people that hate Ken. And I feel like Ken needs to be more in the middle, but Ken just can't, he can't not take the cheese sometimes. And that sort of, brings him to the opposite of both spectrums. But he's still a very popular guy. Steve-O, I've got him a lot higher this year in this region, plus 350. And then we start to go down the page, Mr. Hand 8-1, Brewhand Luke 11-1, and White Sox Sale 25-1. I think Kobe's Burner was a 1 seed a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dip down the page quite a bit. And the only reason I made Mansu Lee 65-1 is because I will vote for Mansu Lee. I'm just gonna hope and pretend that it's actually Mansu Lee, my favorite bullpen catcher of all time. But this is Janice's region to lose. I'd be stunned if she didn't make it out.
Yeah, no, I feel that, and I wish there was a no bet on Ken. I would bet that.
I'll give you -$3 on no.
You take it easily.
I'll take it.
I'll be honest with you. I think Janice has got a little bit of value at plus 100. I'll be perfectly honest. I think if there was a real betting market, she'd get bet into the negative territory, I think. But I really like her. I agree with you. The stock is high. I think from my standpoint, kind of a value play here is GD at plus 550.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great run last year. And I just don't see anyone else in this region that could stop him from getting to the championship of the region against Janice. I really feel like he should sail there. I mean, you could see maybe a Aloha Mr. Hand against him. I agree. The Ken WO fatigue is real, and he'll probably make it out of the first round, but I'll be surprised if he makes it past the second round here. So I could definitely see GD and Aloha Mr. Hand at those prices, being my value plays in this.
Are you going Mr. Hand over Ken in round 2?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the fatigue is strong enough. Yeah. I think the fatigue is strong enough. And Mr. Hand's got kind of a little group with his podcast tribe there that he'll have enough backing, along with the OG 108ers that love Mr. Hand. So yeah, I think it's a big problem for Ken.
I'd probably, again, hypothetically speaking, if I was booking bets on this, I'd probably, couple people walk in, want to bet a couple $100 on Aloha Mr. Hand. All of a sudden that comes down to 6-1 or plus 550. And then we have to play piggy move up and shift things around. But again, you're looking at names and brands and prices. And, I didn't want to make Mr. Hand anything more than 10-1 because I felt like if he's 12, 15, 17, whatever, it's going to get written down. So I feel confident about this region. Again, when you have a strong favorite like Janice, everybody obviously has to be a little bit higher. So that's why, Steve-O and GD and Mr. Hand are a little bit higher than they would be in most regions.
Yeah, Steve-O would have been a good bet if he would have stayed awake for the entire 108 Tourney bracket reveal show.
It was a lot to ask. It was almost a 3-hour show. It was a lot to ask.
Oh, I don't care about a 3-hour. I was on. You guys locked me in the basement for 4.5 hours.
Locked. That's true.
We had Summer George guarding the door with a tray of hot dogs.
I remember I tried to go to the bathroom for the third time. And as I was, trying to get into the bathroom, Morton and I had a stare off, and I'm trying to win this stare off with Beef's dog. And he is just lightsabering me eye to eye. And I'll never forget that night. I swear.
That was a great time.
Incredible.
That was back when we would do this all in person. Oh, there's a nice chug. There's a nice chug.
One.
That is
Beef. Who's your long shot here?
Man, you know what? This is tough. I mean, I'll tell you, someone that I kind of like a little longer in the odds. For me, I think this is the type of region where you can bet the chalk mostly, and that's kind of where the value is. But I'll give Beer Garden Jim at plus 6,500 as my long shot because he goes against Brewhand Luke in round 1, and I think that's going to be a tighter matchup than it might look.
Yeah, that's
and so if he makes one round, you got some value there. So I think I would go with Beer Garden Jim at plus 65.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta go with my base buddy. I gotta go Kobe's Burner at 40-1. He was a 1 seed. He's had great runs in this tournament. So at 40 to 1, I'll bet him. And if I lose, I'll yell at him online.
Man, online.
He likes that kind of thing, so it's fine.
That's right.
All right, let's get on to the next region. The Whiskey Gotcha region, which
Whiskey
the
Gotcha.
internet got My Sock Summer. That's why he's not here.
That's right.
Don't let him tell you he's on vacation or something.
No.
His internet just doesn't exist anymore. Al Gore banned him from the internet, so he's trying his best, but it's just spinning right now.
It's spinning, yes.
All right, Sam, break it down for us.
All right, so our first chalk for favorite unprotected Sox minus 115. So you'd have to put down 115 and win 100. Another growing account, more fans than last year, and I think the community that unprotected Sox has sort of become makes him a decided favorite in this bracket. You put the noms against each other again on the same side of the bracket. I think last year didn't they play in the first round?
They were first round opponents, and now they'd meet in the second round this year. Yep,
right. And that, honestly, like I think the 108 needs to get a live camera in the Nom household for that like 24-hour period, because they're both trying to flip the daughter. Like they're using the daughter against each other. It's like soap opera level shit. The fact that they meet again this early, but one of them will knock the other one out. Obviously, Sean Anderson's interesting here, 15 to 1. I think that's if I were to bet this region and look for a little value, bet a little to win a lot. I might look at Sean Anderson at 15 to 1. But yeah, I went unprotected, then Tom Paints, and then Sockside Pride 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and those are people with lineage in this tournament who've done well in this tournament. Those top three there. I agree with you about the value on Sean Anderson. It was a really tough decision for Treasy and I, because Sean Anderson typically, like someone like him, would be in the White Sox Dave region with the media people. We were unsure though. He had left the Score and he was still doing Locked On Sox, so we were like back and forth. Do you make him a low seed in that bracket, or do you put him in a regular bracket, give him the 5 seed, which we did, and give him some runway to go with it? And we sort of thought that, and this was before the CHGO thing. Like we had the brackets locked before all that was out there and known. So if I were reseeding today, I probably would put him back in the White Sox Day region. So I think he's got a ton of value here. Like I could see him making 2 rounds. But Sockside Pride's a tough second round matchup. So that's where it kind of halts a little bit, right? He does not have an easy round 2.
Well, and he's got to go through, Sockside Pride, then likely unprotected Sox, and then to the other side of the bracket, whether it be one of the Noms or Tom Paints. That's a really tough 3-team moneyline parlay, to win those 3 in a row. Oftentimes it's about the path, and not just for the 108 tourney, but for the conference basketball tournaments, for the big dance that'll start next week. It's all about the path and the probability of winning all your games. And for him to go SSP unprotected and then win the bracket, it's a tall order. I think the math lines up.
Yeah,
it's brutal. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's a great breakdown of it. I would say that who could make a big run here if she switches allegiances and becomes a straight up Sox fan would be Queen Nam. Now
that's what's holding her back. She's the only Cubs fan in the whole thing.
I mean, she covers up that tattoo with a Sox tattoo. It could go off the rails. It could get crazy. And then next year we'll be able to let another Cubs fan in. So
King Nam says Haley is Team Matt all the way. I don't believe it, but I mean he seems to think so. So
if you're looking for a sleeper in this bracket, and go to the website FromThe108.com and look at the bracket, I think the right side of the bracket's where the sleeper comes from. Left side is pretty top heavy. Right side of the bracket, it could be wide open.
Beef, who's your long shot?
I mean, my long shot here is my man Alex Rude at plus 4,500. The reason he is, and I know he's going against Jordan Miller in round 1, who killed Tupac. That's nothing, no slight against that. But in round 2, when he has Tom Paints, now Tom Paints has done well in this tournament in the past, but Tom Paints has been a little disconnected from White Sox Twitter fam kind of in the offseason. He's kind of been doing his own thing, and obviously there's nothing wrong with that. He's still a great guy, and people like him. But there's a little bit of fade on the brand there. So I could see that round 2, him kind of sneaking. If he sneaks past Tom Paints, that's gigantic value. So I could see Alex Rude at plus 45.
I mean, I'm gonna go all the way to the 200 to 1. I'm gonna go with Doughboy.
Doughboy, yes.
I love the guy. And like I think he's now got his movie podcast, which is fantastic. Yep. So like I'm hoping to see something go here. I want to see a little Doughboy movement here and get a couple rounds in. I know that's a huge order because like there's who's he got first round? I think he's got Tom,
he's got
right?
King Nam, yeah.
He's got King Nam first round.
Nam
so yeah,
round
that's a huge matchup.
He's got to knock out Nam and Nam back to back.
Yeah, he's got to.
Pretty brutal.
I've hung out with all three of them together. I think he's got what it takes.
Absolutely.
We might have to put a 49ers game on where they're losing to really drive it home. But
get the juices flowing.
But yeah, I think he might be able to do it.
And we're already at the 20-minute mark, by the way. So you're over totally.
Yeah, I mean, we knew this was going to take an hour.
All right, next bracket.
Sunday Soak region. There's some good ones in here. You want to break it down, Sam?
I'm nervous of Buzzy here. I think Buzzy's got a shot to win this region, no doubt about it. I believe, I don't remember all the results of last year's tournament, but I think Zawoski had another top-level seed. And I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he made a deep run.
He did make it to the final. So he made it to the Elite Eight. So he won his bracket last year. So he feels that he is like an undervalued number one. He feels like he's disrespected all the time. But I think his odds reflect kind of the true value here, the plus 150.
Well, I mean, he's the guy to beat. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. He's still the favorite, but I feel like you have some contenders in this region. You know, Buzzy just under 4-1, Austin Zeke at 8-1. If he can get, the boys and girls to come out and vote for him. And then I don't know why I'm magnetically pulled towards Sleepy Harold. I think it's the name more than anything. Like if I had a racehorse, Sleepy Harold might be the name of the racehorse. And I loved number 3, Harold Baines. And Mrs. Beef 25-1. Here's the question I have. Does Mrs. Beef actually give a damn? If she does, 25-1 might be a good bet.
Actually, I'll be honest with you. She likes to have fun with these things, but she's also the type of person that really hates to fucking lose. So yes, she will give enough of a damn, and she does want to win round one. She's got Austin Zick in round one, and they've had a bunch of Iowa State bets over the years. So there's a rivalry already that exists there. So she definitely wants to at least win that round one matchup. So yeah, she'll be motivated.
Good names in this region, though. I mean, Celeste Spaghetti, the Sergio Santos Fan Club, VP of Wu-Tang Financial, SPF. I mean, this is the best name region, I think.
There's no question. It's absolutely terrific, top-notch names. I would totally agree. Treasy, what do you think? How are you feeling about this?
I think there's two people mispriced in this.
Okay.
So I think, and you know what, Sam? It's one of those things where people have kind of recently risen, and I think it's tough to keep track of these things. But Brian Knights at 40-1, he should be a lot higher. He can run this whole table. And then Celeste, when we announced that there was going to be the number ones thrown out, and then it got leaked on the on the Sons of Honarchy that there was going to be 4 women that were going to be number 1 seeds. A lot of people were saying Celeste would be one of those number 1 seeds. So I think there's a chance there. There's a chance for a big run. Celeste and Brian, I think, are a little bit, off. And I would bet these. This is what I'm looking for when I wake up at 4:30 in the morning on a Wednesday and go, I'm going to bet some futures.
Let's do it.
So the only thing I'll say is that, yes, I fully admit I don't have as much time to study White Sox Twitter as I have in years past. I remember the tournament we made odds for 2 years ago. I didn't have a job. So I spent like a week on these odds and I researched but now it's like, imagine me being at work and I'm trying to study 360 college basketball teams. My boss is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing the odds for the 108 tourney. Like, that's
He'll understand. Your boss will understand. It's very important. He should know that. What the hell?
Well, you need to put my boss in the tournament next year. So you need to be better and you need to think ahead.
Sammy,
I agree.
That's why I was surprised you would even do this year, because it's like right at the same time as the NCAA tournament, and like I'm just like, he's going to say no to this So like, but it's
It's
like I still love Sammy. I'm not going to be mad that he says no. He's got, this is his job.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, absolutely, I'm doing this. I was like, oh shit, okay.
As
And
long
I'm
as
gonna
still
use up
thinking-
2.5 hours of your Saturday and tell you it's going to be 20 minutes. Like I can't believe you'd go for any of this.
As long as I'm still ticking, I will always do this for the boys. But I will tell you, at 2:00 Eastern, I'm hanging up. So we got 28 minutes left.
Got a little runway to go.
At that
Tracy,
point,
what
you're on your own.
about long shots here?
Well, I'm
You
taking
covered yours, right?
I'm taking
I'll give you
Celeste at 60-1.
I'll give you a real long shot. VP of Wu-Tang Financial, Barber Chair Scott.
Oh yeah.
Makes good content. He's got buzz in the first round, which is a bad matchup, as Sammy already mentioned. But if he sneaks by that, he's going to win his round 2, and then he's got to face Father Zoe. I mean, like I kind of like the value at 100-1 there.
That's a great pick. If he gets past round 1, I mean he can dominate.
Yeah, he's got.
I like White Sox Twitter mom at 100-1 too. She's really great. There's some, I mean, like each of these brackets, I'm like, I love these people. I know they're probably not going to make it too far. So I don't want to give too many people like my long shot, but I think Celeste at 60-1 is gonna be the one I'd take. I mean, that Brian at 40-1 too is good.
Probably if what you're saying is true, Brian would be 22-1 in an hour. So
right, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Bad lines. Lord knows I make bad lines.
All right, let's get to the next one. The Wave Sux Region. This is an interesting one. So, Sammy, break it down for us. What you got here? And sorry about my font sizing.
This was the trickiest region for me because there were a lot of unknowns, and I think there are some top seeds that have to prove that they're top seeds, and that's not just the one. I think the first couple seeds all have something to prove here. But I was talking with George, and he said Sox Bear Peyton is very live in this region. But I think again, it's a resume thing. What's on the resume? That's not a knock. It's just the reality. But still favored. I've got her plus 185, 100 wins, 185. Then Wet Bandit and Shane Harmon. Then a little bit of a leap down to Mendelson and 11. The Twitter picture is outstanding, like the weird looking Mark Trestman. And a lot like Sleepy Harold, Wendell for me is just like, I feel like people are going to vote for Wendell. I don't know if they even know why they're going to vote for Wendell. But Wendell's another one of those accounts that just seems to get shit done. Jankowski at 30, Cornsey at 30, and then we go a little bit lower than that.
Yeah, so I mean, I like it. I really like the I like the closeness of Sox Bear Peyton and Wet Bandit, because when I was making the bracket and trying to decide who was the 1 or 2, it was a tough decision, and I ended up going with Peyton just by a little bit. So I feel these odds perfectly at the top.
Yeah, I really like the odds in this one. I think they're pretty spot on. I think if I'm going long shot though, Beef, I'm going Roxy at 60-1.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah.
And it's mostly because when we do anything live on YouTube with Josh Nelson,
yeah, she
just bodies the shit out of him. and he's one of my best buddies. I love to see it happen. That's the Bridgeport in me. I love to see my buddies get talked tons of shit to.
I agree with you.
See, by the way, did you see Jankowski pop in the chat and say he loves his value at 30-1?
Yes. Bring that up right there. Love the value on me. That's wonderful.
Oh man,
he's pulling a Calvin Ridley. He's betting on the game he's playing in.
That's right. He doesn't have a gambling problem. He has a competition problem. Teresa, I agree with you on Roxy at plus 6,000. The only problem is she runs into Sammy Mendelson right away. And so like it's really hard to progress like in some of these brackets when your round 2 matchup is someone that's that tough. And Sammy Mendelson's been in the tournament forever, and everyone who's ever met Sam Mendelson loves him. So it's very tough. Like I like that value too, but that's kind of, to me, that's a 1-round value of, I think you're obviously going to win your round 1, and then that's where you got to scoop the value up there.
No doubt. All right, let's get to the next bracket. The Lil Friday region. Here we go. The champ resides here. Let's break this one down.
This one's easy. I mean, unless he dies from alcohol poisoning, he's winning this region.
And even then,
Zombie George wins it hands down.
I'm scared of what he's willing to do. Let me just put it that way. You know, he won last year, took the tournament by storm 2 years ago. You think about potential. It's like now George has all Americans on the squad. You know,
yes,
2 years
right,
ago,
exactly.
George had Dan Dickow, and he was like 1999 Gonzaga. Now he's got all Americans, and he's got the top player from France, and he's got the Australian center, and he's ready to fuck in this region.
Yeah.
So I think minus 200, that's expensive. I think, like, for example, like Gonzaga to win their region this year in the tournament is probably going to be minus 150 or minus 160. So I feel stronger about George winning this region than I do about Gonzaga making the actual Final Four. Jordan Lisowski, a very strong 2. Pinos, very strong 3. Mailman Jack has some pull. Fitzmagic, Casey, Jeff the Giant, maybe a little disrespect here. Liam Menus, love that account, 85-1. But really, it's like if I were to make a bet, Teresi, and I said you get George or the field, what would you do?
I'd take George.
Yeah,
I take George, and like there's some long shots in here that I like. You know, even like Mailman Jack at plus 1,000 or Fitzmagic at plus 1,750. I like those. Like I might bet on those if they were in any other region. Crystal and like I would say Jeff is probably a guy that get the right endorsements. He's gonna fly through a bunch of rounds. So I like Jeff, or Crystal. Crystal's great, but like, and at 40-1, I'd bet it. But you run into George at some point.
And they run into George quickly because they're on that side of the bracket with him. Now, I agree. I think there's probably value in George at minus 200. I really think there is. We're looking at this whole board. I'm like, I guess even for my long shots, Teresi, I like Crystal at plus 4,000. But the rest of it, like, I like George at minus 200. I'd keep betting him until he was minus 3 or minus 3.5. Like, I mean, he'd be on it.
He just walked us through his house and showed us how much Four Loko he has. Like, just ready for this.
And he's like MJ. He gave us the shrug. Was like, "What's your plan for the tournament?" It's like, I just wake up the morning of, and whatever happens, happens. It's like, how do you defend against that?
Peyton gave us the same thing. Peyton gave us the same thing. I was just like, this is what champions do.
I didn't think about if George croaks. I didn't think about he almost becomes stronger. So maybe minus 200 is a little short.
So I think his biggest, and Sammy, you know him better than we do. Is there a chance that he just passes out for a whole day? Because I think that's the only thing that could hurt him. But I mean, like I've seen him walk into Beef's backyard and jump directly into the cold tub.
Yes.
I don't feel like a passed out day is gonna be a thing.
No, I think the only way he loses is if he ends up in the can. You know, like if he gets arrested, stealing an ice cream truck or something, and like, you know, crashing it into a playground, and then and then he can't
public shaming
for 72 hours. Like that's probably how he doesn't win this region. That's probably what it would take.
All right, Trees, you want to flip to the next one?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You know what, Sammy? I love this because this is the point of this region. Like these are not supposed to be like the people that everybody knows, because not enough people are following these accounts. Not enough people are seeing these accounts. That's why we put them in here. These are going to be the ones next year that you're like, oh shit, this person's awesome. You know, I love this. Oh, I started following this person because of the 108 tournament. And like, man, I love this account. That's the point of this.
Yeah,
so
these are the future stars. These are the future stars. Exactly.
This is exactly right.
I felt bad, but I'm also brutally honest. And Mondo, I apologize, but this is what it is. If I were to make a number 1 seed off of just names, it's Barry Bag of Donuts. That's
great name.
That's
great guy
in the field. And I know Matt Ramsey. Like I've had some exchanges with Matt Ramsey on Twitter, but yeah, this is an unknown for me, and that's just the reality of what's going on. Hopefully next year I know these names a little bit better, but I was stumped here, and I meant no disrespect. I thought it was funny to just be like, yeah, let's just mail this one in because I have no idea. Anybody could win this region, and I think that's the point.
That's the beauty of it
reason
too.
I love it.
That's
why I love it,
why I mean, like that's what's great about this. And you know, Sammy saying the fuck if I know. This is when you're like, hey, I want to bet on the over in this game, and the sports books are like, we have no idea what the over is going to be in this game.
That's
like,
early season college hoops. No totals. No totals.
Sammy, what was that team that just doesn't even try to play defense and never punts?
Presbyterian College.
Yes.
Yeah, they played a couple games this year in the 80s. They played a game in the 90s, and then there was a game. I want to say there was a game that they lost 68-42 or something like that. And eventually, the books just said, you know what, we're going to open this total at 85 and let it run. And they started 6 of the first 7 games went over, and we were hammering these overs, and they'd open like 67. We'd hit it to 74, and then they just started opening 78, 81. One of the totals closed at 93 in a college football game.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
You got to adjust. I think the last 2 games went under because the totals were so freaking high that the books didn't we don't want to write any more under bets, or any more over bets rather, because we want to take the sharp guys on the under. But yeah, you're always trying to adjust behind the counter. And Presbyterian, man, I think they only punted 11 times this year. They went for it at one point. They had 4th and 15 at their own 10, and they went for it. And the other team stopped them and then just walked into the end zone. It was an amazing follow all season.
Absolutely.
Beef, this is my long shot. Mando at plus 10,000. I would take that.
I love Mando in this region, actually. I mean, he's got a tough first round matchup with Berry
Bag
of Donuts. But when he gets through that, I mean, I really like him after that.
Have you seen that picture of him in his car with the Mandalorian helmet on? Yeah. I mean, like that's the kind of shit that I just love. So I want to see how he does in this. And again, the 108 region, it's up for grabs. That's the point of this. And like, I love it. All right. This is a hot region.
Ooh.
I would bet the no on me in a second if you gave it. Break this one down.
Treasy,
I feel like Treasy is a sleeping giant this year, although he's not a giant. Literally speaking, I guess. I feel like you're selling yourself short here, and of the 3 amigos, you have the easiest path to win the region. I mean, Beef. The only tougher matchup for Beef in this region would be Jeff Passan. Like, that would be the only matchup that would be even harder for him to win in the first round. Remember, my guy was the #1 overall seed 2 years ago. And now he's got Alyssa Bergamini, up-and-comer, Bulls Radio, White Sox host. Yeah. That is a tough draw, my friend.
That's brutal. It is.
Treasy, that's a very easy bottom of the bracket for you. I think you get through either Kamka or Herb or Shane, and you breeze into the regional finals. So that's why your odds are the lowest. And my Sox Summer, the boys and girls have been telling me that since he's lost weight, he's lost personality. I can't deny this, but he's incredible. There's a reason he's 1150 to win this region. Love Tanny. The Nelsons playing each other in the first round is outstanding. Herb and Shane, that's going to be a good matchup, assuming that happens. And to get a guy like Jim Margalis at 100-1, like that's Jim Margalis, excuse me. That's look at that. That's who's prettier? Go back to that.
Put that back up there.
Neither. Okay, got it. This is a very loaded region. Tanny's my guy too. Yeah. Best audio man in the biz, I think. 670 to score. That left side of this left column in this region is a freaking war zone.
Yeah, it's brutal. There's no
Beef. Give me a long shot on this one.
Oh man, long shot. I'm going to go with my guy Herb Lawrence, and the reason why I'll go with him as a long shot is his stock had been rising all through the prior White Sox season, and now he's part of the new venture, the CHGO venture, and he's one of the main guys on their White Sox podcast. And he's got great street cred in Sox Twitter community. There's like people have popular accounts or whatever, but then there's people who have gotten a chance to really press the flesh with someone. And Herbie's been out. He was out at the big tailgate we did in Milwaukee, and people wanted to take pictures with him and meet him and talk to him and stuff. So if I'm going long shot in this region, I really like Herbie at 40-1.
Speaking of pressing the flesh, you know, if our guy Shane Reardon wants to like kill a whole cow and prepare a whole meal for somebody, you know, like, you know, if he says, hey, vote for me and I will take you all to a 7-course meal with bourbon out of the ears, then he's going to all of a sudden become more popular. So
yeah,
it's all about for these seeds in the middle. You know, what can they offer? What can they do? How can they sell you? And, you know, I mean, Shane's Meats is a life of its own. So that's
no question about it.
Pretty decent. The only reason Shane's 40-1 is because we've got the 3 amigos and Layla and Alyssa. Like, it's nothing, you know, those guys at 25, 40, 55, 70-1, it's nothing personal. It's probability and getting through these minefields. That's all it is.
55-1, I might take Kamka.
You like Kamka as your long shot.
And if it ends up me and Kamka against each other, I'll throw the match to make that 55-1. That's the key here. Is that I have a little flexibility in this if I were to bet on it.
You can. I mean,
Pete Rose style.
Exactly. Yeah. Can I quickly explain me against Alyssa in the first round? Sometimes you bake these things and they sit there for months and you don't look, and then Alyssa's stock has been rising so fast. And obviously, Alyssa's awesome. Everyone knows this already. But I thought amongst the White Sox Twitter group, I know she's the in-stadium announcer, but I felt I had more clout. And when we released these seeds, everyone bodied the shit out of me. They're like, the seeding should be reversed. You should be the fucking 13. She should be the number 4. And I don't disagree with it. I'll be honest with you.
I'll give you credit, man, because, you know, a couple years ago, you gave yourself essentially an elephant walk into the final. You know, this is a lot tougher.
Murderous
for
row.
you. I mean, your bracket, you got to go through Alyssa, then one of the Nelsons, and then Layla Rahimi. And then if you survive that trauma, you got to go through Terezi or Herb, Shane, Kamka.
Yeah.
You gave yourself the toughest bracket you've ever given yourself. And for that, I salute.
Thank you.
I think the thing to remember out of this region is that Jim Margulis hates the White Sox and hates baseball, and he's made it his life's mission to make it miserable to be a fan of either, and that's why he started his podcast and blog. But we'll get to that later. All right, here's for the championship.
Yes, love
this
it.
This is the overall. There we go. We went over.
George plus 250. He texted me the other day and said, "You ain't seen nothing yet." That made me nervous. So, you know, plus 250 right there. And you can tell where my respect lies when you look at the top, you know, 3 or 4 seeds. And, you know, Janice at plus 375, that's respect. That's odds maker respect. And that might even be a little too high. But given the math, it's a fair price. If your favorite's plus 250, you know, Janice probably should be plus 450. But I wouldn't want to write 450. So this is, in math terms, this is a 1-2 race, in my opinion, for the whole thing between Summer of George and Janice. Then we've got Mikey, 11-2, Layla, 11-1, Terezi, I'm higher on you than I am on Beef and My Sox Summer. I'll give you My Sox. I'll give it away 60-1. That's how good I feel.
He's got Layla in round 2. I mean, it's an extremely tough road. Like, it's very difficult on My Sox Summer.
Well, if My Sox Summer shows a little skin in that matchup, maybe. But
he's been known to do it.
Yeah, he'll show it out. Sammy, if I could bounce this back to you just for 1 second here, does the bartender have any thoughts on the overall champion? Who do you think the bartender would take in this spot? That's what everyone wants to know. I saw it in the comments. Someone's like, you better ask about the bartender. Make sure the bartender gets what their bet would be in on this final group.
The bartender might see 35-1 on Beef Loaf and say that's a good price. I didn't prepare for this question, but I mean, given the fact that last year you were $750 to win the tournament, and now you're 35-1 to win the tournament, I think he would look at that number and say that's good value. But your path is so tough. And here's the other outlier. I sent these to a couple people, and I think Nam just said something in the chat. That's great value on Allie White Sox at 25-1. And I said, okay, maybe. Allie White Sox is like Virginia. She gets the job done. She plays good defense. She's consistent, right? But sometimes Virginia they don't play with the speed or the skill that they have to. And I think White Claws were cool 2 years ago. Now it's high noons with the vodka in it. You know, we
That's
got
right.
we got to spice this up, Alley White Sox. So let's see what you have up your sleeve here at 25-1. Yes, the price is available for a reason. She can make a run. She could obviously win her region, but let's see how crazy she's willing to get in this tournament. You know, White Claws are like a thing of 2020. It's 2022.
Speaking of it being 2022, you know, there's booze, and then there's other stuff, and other stuff's making a comeback. And so
Making a big
Bear
run.
Peyton at 100-1, I might take, because if George is slamming Four Locos, but she climbs on top of a ladder and hits a 10-foot bong, I mean, like, that's the stuff of champions.
That's right. Content master course right there.
I can't believe I kept a straight face for 53 minutes on this show. 46 minutes. Me comparing Alley White Sox to Virginia is, I don't even know where that came from. But damn it felt good.
My God,
Absolutely.
this has been a lot of fun, man.
Yes.
Sammy, I appreciate you jumping on for 20 minutes and then another 27 minutes.
Of course.
It's always great to talk to you. I can't wait to see you in person. Hopefully we'll get
Yes.
some Sox games in this year. Have some beers with you and hopefully your brother too. And man,
and your apartment looks spacious, so we'll just come stay with you when we come out.
Yeah.
You know,
It looks
I've
like
been
it.
told the White Sox do play at Fenway this year, so I don't know if the ladies will let you off the leashes and come out here, but that could be, you know, a Sox on Sox crime.
Ooh.
You know, I'll be back on the concrete jungle at some point. I want to come back in late April or early May and go to a game with the boys and all that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't show off the 05
There we go.
caricature. Can't speak. I'll always do this for the boys. You know that.
Do they have a Turtles-esque bar that we could do shots in the middle of the street?
They do. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I've got the binocular flasks in the closet, and those always get through security because they are binoculars, but the eyes twist off.
Oh,
So
I love it.
we've always got those. And yeah, Lansdowne Street, which is behind the Green Monster and left, that entire street gets sort of barricaded off on the ends.
Okay.
And it's pretty much a party street. It's a party block.
Oh,
so
man.
we've got
That's
bars all along that place. It's like a mini Wrigleyville along the left field line.
We probably need to party there then.
Yeah, it sounds incredible.
So we will. Sammy, thanks for jumping on, man. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon, and we'll talk to everybody else soon.
Cheers.